Helo, noswaith dda, good evening, croeso I amser stori y fenter. Welcome to the Venture Story Time. Now, today is Thursday, the 9th of April. It is Thursday, isn't it? Yes. And on this day in 1860, the oldest known recording of the human voice was made. In 1928, a chap called Albert Gubbe, I hope that's how you say it, was born. He was actually born in Rhyl, up next door in the next county, Denbighshire, and he is the founder of QuickSave. Do you remember QuickSave? Or Quickies, as we used to call it. And he opened the first store in Prestatyn, followed by another store in Colwyn Bay. So a original Welsh supermarket. Long live QuickSave, if it didn't already go. But I miss Quickies. Used to go there for Tip Tops or Ice Pops or whatever you call those things. And also in 2005, on this day, Charles, Prince of Wales, married Camilla Parker Bowles. So happy anniversary. So there you have it. Also today we posted a video of little Georgie singing There's an Owl in the Tree, and it was an absolute delight. We've had some comments to that already. Karen from the early years said, "Oh Georgie, what a lovely singing voice, and singing my favourite song." Amanda Hayward then said, "My favourite too," and Carly said, "Karen, he would sing it all till he got the camera out." So that's about as much as Carly could get out of him. And Maureen from the early years also said, "Georgie, that was amazing. My heart is melting," with a little star emoji. So Georgie, diolch yn fawr, thank you very much. We loved your video. If you've got a video to send in, please send it through our Facebook page, or you can go to theventurewrexham.com. We'd love to see videos of you, your children singing, any drawings, things you've been doing at this time, and in this lovely weather, we would love to see you and we'd love to catch up with you as well. Now, for those of you who've been watching the last few nights, you'll know that it's story time, and we have been reading The Demon Headmaster. There it is. I thought I forgot the book then. So we've met Dinah Glass, and she was fostered by Mr. and Mrs. Hunter. She's met Harvey and Lloyd, who she's moved into their house, and she's also had her first day at school. Now this is no ordinary school. The children are really well behaved. There's no playing on the playground. There's no rowdiness. And they're all very neat. They all comb their hair in synchronised. They straighten their hats, and they all wear perfect uniform. Now there's really strict prefects as well. And Dinah in the last chapter was called into the headmaster's office, and she was she fell asleep. She doesn't know how. She slept for like 3 hours and had a weird pinprick in her finger. And the headmaster is a very strange man, as you can see from here. So we're now up to chapter 4, and that is, so last was the headmaster, and this one is, the best school I've ever been to. So get yourselves comfy, grab yourselves a drink. Got myself a nice Panada here. Nice cup of tea to wet the whistle, and we will begin. Please be sure to say hello in the comments so that we know who's watching. Give us a wave and we can give you a shout out. So, chapter 4, the best school I've ever been to. So we last left Dinah leaving the headmaster's office and going to the dining hall. At the door of the dining hall, Dinah stopped. She must be too early. There was no sound coming from inside. None of the hubbub and chatter that was associated with dinner time. But when she pushed the door open, she saw that the room was full. Table after table of demure children in green uniforms eating platefuls of sausages and chips. Nice. Going to the counter, she collected a tray and looked around for Lloyd and Harvey. It was easy to see them. Although the dining hall was crowded, the table they sat at was half empty. The two of them were sharing it with Ian and 2 girls, one tall and red-haired and the other short and chubby. The remaining 5 seats were vacant. They were empty. Dinah walked across and sat down in one of them. No one spoke to her. Oh. Harvey gave a shy smile, but Lloyd scowled and looked away, and the others all stared at her in a hostile way. That's not very nice. Dinah chewed calmly for a moment before she said anything. Then she turned to Lloyd. I'm in your class. Oh, good, said Lloyd sarcastically. Where have you been all morning, then? Went to see the headmaster, she finished off her first sausage. Lloyd and Harvey exchanged glances, and Ian looked at her curiously. What do you think of him? He said. Dinah opened her mouth to say that she thought he was creepy and peculiar. Instead, she heard her own voice say, He's a marvellous man, and this is the best school I've ever been to. She put her knife and fork down. Aha! Said the chubby little girl savagely. The red-haired girl prodded her. Be quiet, Ingrid. But Mandy, be quiet. The five of them went on eating stolidly, while Dinah studied their faces. But she could not guess anything from them. They were determinedly blank. After a moment or two, Mandy said casually, as if the question had not been asked already, What do you think of the headmaster? Automatically, Dinah found herself repeating the same words. He is a marvellous man, and this is the best school I've ever been to. Ha-ha! Said Ingrid again, unrepentantly. The others simply snorted and went on eating their dinner. But I don't understand. Dinah looked round at them. That's what they all say, Lloyd shrugged. All of them. He waved a hand round the rest of the dining hall. Try asking sometime. They think he's just as marvellous as you do. I can see you're going to fit in beautifully. Dinah looked over her shoulder at the green uniformed children. Then she looked back at the hostile faces opposite her. She could not understand what was going on. She was not used to not understanding things, and she did not like it at all. I bet he said that you were to go into the hall after dinner, Ingrid said sneeringly. Well, yes, he did. Doesn't everyone? No, Mandy said quietly. We don't. Everybody else does. Ian gave a languid, amused smile. We have extra work, with one of the prefects to watch over us. And you needn't think... we needn't think that we're thick or anything. Lloyd slurped up the rest of his semolina, the noise sounding disastrously loud in the quiet canteen. It's not that at all. We're just not like the others. Oh, said Dinah. She still did not understand anything, but she made up her mind that she would not say so. She would just watch and wait. Lloyd got to his feet. Mind you're not late to the hall, he said nastily. You don't want to get in trouble on your first day, do you? He turned away and the others followed him. Harvey, going last, whispered, Good luck, and then hurried off, as if he were afraid that the others might have heard him. As the five of them passed down the long canteen, 200 pairs of eyes watched them expressionlessly, while 200 sets of teeth chewed in rhythm. 10 minutes later, as if at signal, everyone stood up. As Dinah was beginning to expect, the children formed a neat crocodile without any pushing and began to file silently out of the canteen. Waiting until nearly everyone had gone, Dinah found herself walking behind Lucy, the little girl who'd not known the capital of the United States, which is Washington, D.C. She reached out and touched her on the arm. Lucy turned round with a jerk and then smiled timidly. Thank you, she whispered, for what you did in the playground. Oh, it's all right, Dinah smiled back. I can't think why the others wouldn't tell you. Lucy shrugged and started to turn away again, but Dinah had an idea. Have you been at this school for a long time? She murmured. Since I was 5, Lucy whispered. Shh, we're not supposed to talk. There's no one here, Dinah said encouragingly. We're the last. Do you like the school? She had half expected the answer, but it was still a shock when she heard it. Lucy turned to her and said in a rather mechanical voice, "The headmaster is a marvellous man, and this is the best school I've ever been to." "It's the only school you've ever been to," Dinah said. But Lucy only looked puzzled and put her finger to her lips. "Shh!" Dinah walked on quietly. Her thin face was wrinkled in concentration. There was something queer here, something not like a school at all. Perhaps she would understand it better after she had seen what the assembly in the hall was like. Following Lucy in, she sat down in a chair at the back of the hall. It was full of children, and teachers were sat on chairs around the edge, as silent and stony-faced as their pupils. After a moment, the headmaster appeared. He stalked up the aisles between the chairs, his long gown flapping behind him, seeming even taller than Dinah had remembered. Slowly he climbed the steps to the stage, turned to look down on the crowded hall before him. There was no need for him to call for silence. Everyone, teachers and children alike, were gazing at him. With a thin smile, he reached up and took off his glasses, and his huge green eyes stared out at them. Dinah felt that he was looking directly at her. She could not move her eyes away from his steady green stare. Then he began to speak. "Funny," he said gently, "that you should all be so tired so early in the afternoon." "But that's what he said before," Dinah thought, with a jerk of surprise. "When I was in his office, it was peculiar." Her amazement had jolted her out of the dreamy vagueness that his voice was producing to the others. All of a sudden, she felt grimly stubborn. She had had enough peculiar happenings for one day. She tried to turn her attention away from the tall black figure on the stage so that she could think, but it was very difficult. There seemed to be no escaping those eyes. Then all at once, like a light, she had a little flicker of understanding. "That's it," she thought triumphantly. "When he takes his glasses off, when I see his eyes, I want to go to sleep. And that's when things get peculiar." With almost a gleeful feeling, she shut her own eyes tightly, blacking out the hall, the rows of yawning children, and the compelling green stare. This time she would not get caught. "You all look very tired," said the headmaster's hissing voice. "No, I don't," Dinah said rebelliously inside her head behind her closed eyes. "So tired," he went on. "Your hands and feet are heavy, and your eyelids are like lead." "No, they're not," Dinah thought ferociously. She turned her head sideways and with great caution opened one eye. All around her she could see heads starting to nod. Children were rubbing their eyes. Teachers were giving huge, uncontrollable yawns. Then, gradually, their eyelids closed. Dinah shut her own eyes again and listened. "You are asleep," said the headmaster. "Ha ha! No, I'm not," Dinah's voice inside said rudely and triumphantly. She was going to do it. She was going to get the better of him. "When you wake up," his voice went on silkily, "you will remember that you saw a film about ants. If anyone asks, you will say, 'It was a film about ants. It was very interesting. We saw how they build their nests and look after their eggs and how their queen lives.' If you are asked any more questions, you will say, 'I don't remember.' Now repeat that, please. What did you do in assembly today?" "It was a film about ants," the children started, their voices wooden in perfect unison. Dinah joined in, trying to sound as lifeless as the rest of them. But all the time she was gloating because she knew that what she was saying was a lie. even if she did not understand why she was supposed to be lying. As the children stopped speaking, there was a pause, and unable to resist the urge, Dinah opened her eyes a fraction to glance at the rows and rows of apparently sleeping children, their faces turned to the front and their hands in their laps. There was something sinister about the sight, and before she could stop herself, she shuddered. Instantly, she closed her eyes tightly and dropped her head forward, imitating theirs. But it was too late. From the front of the hall she heard heavy footsteps coming down the aisle towards her. They came closer and closer, leather soles sounding loud on the wooden floorboards, and stopped right beside her. "Dinah Glass, open your eyes," said the headmaster's voice softly. Mechanically, she opened them, letting her gaze settle on a distant point, way past the headmaster, hoping that he would think she was still asleep. She could not see his face, but for a moment she thought that she had succeeded in deceiving him. He stood perfectly still, watching her. Then she heard him say, "Your left arm is completely numb. You can feel nothing." "Oh, yes, I can," her mind said obstinately, a split second before she realised what he was going to do. He leaned forward and she felt a sharp pain darting into her left forearm. Unable to stop herself, she winced, looking down to see him pull out a pin with which he had pricked her. "As I thought," he said sharply, pretending. "Look at me, Dinah, when I am talking to you." She looked stubbornly at the floor. "Look at me!" This time his voice was loud and threatening. Frightened in spite of herself, Dinah looked up. He was staring straight at her, a lock of pale hair falling over his forehead, and his green eyes wide and translucent. "I can see that you are not yet accustomed to our ways," he said more quietly. "I hope you are not going to be a person who won't cooperate with me." "It depends what you want," Dinah said coldly. "But it's not what I want." He sounded almost amused. "It's what you want." "What I want?" "Yes, what you want. You want to go to sleep because you're so tired, so very, very tired." Too late. She realised that she'd let herself get caught off guard. This time, try as she would, she could not close her eyes or turn them away from those great pools of green that seemed to swim closer and closer. "You're so sleepy," murmured the headmaster. "You feel you have to go to sleep." "I'll forget it all," Dinah thought frantically. "I'll forget everything I've discovered. What a waste." As her eyelids began to droop, she gathered all her energies together to try and fix something in her mind. Remember it. Remember it. Hypnotism. 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 Grimly she tried to concentrate. Remember it. Remember it. Remember. Hypnotism. But the words in her head drifted off into silence and floated away on a great tide of sleep as she slumped slowly forward in her chair. This time she did not feel a thing when the headmaster stuck the pin into her arm. What a monster! So there is something going on. The headmaster is hypnotising all the pupils at the school, apart from Harvey Lloyd and their little group of friends. And then he pricked her in the arm and she didn't feel it. Well, I'm certainly scared by all of this. Let's find out what happens next in the Demon Headmaster this time tomorrow. Let's have a look who's been watching with us. We've had Nicola Groom. Hello, Nicola. Nice of you to join us. Nicholas James. Elizabeth Edwards. Hi, Mum. Paul Ford's been watching. Hi, Paul. And Karen from the early years as well. Hello, Karen. Thank you very much for prompting all those videos. Fingers crossed we'll get some more. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the next chapter, and please keep sending in all your videos and pictures and comments. We love to hear from you, and we love to hear what it is that you've been up to. But for now, all that leaves me to say is diolch am wylio. Thank you for watching. Breuddwydion dda, sweet dreams, nos da, good night, and hopefully I will see you all soon. Ta-ta rwan.